My name is Tom Gianakopoulos. I go by Tom G, and I am a photographer and writer that lives in the Venice Beach area and works in the Hollywood area. It had to have been just as I turned like 16 that my dad gave me my first professional camera. I mean, I had Instamatics and things like that, but when I started to seriously take photos and like be aware of what I was doing, I was like a junior in high school, and in middle school was the first time we had something that they don't have anymore, the class GE, Graphics and Electronics, and they phased that all out of education now, but at the time it was great because I found that the things that I learned in middle school were actually the jobs that I found myself in when I was older. Maybe I was just born to be blue collar, I don't know. But the photo that I took for that class, the teacher pointed it out. So it's like that first positive reinforcement with, hey, you're pretty good at this, and hey, he's pretty good at this. So that was when I knew that I had a good eye, and just kept going. The difference between shooting with analog film and shooting digital is I shoot a lot more. I'm not really too worried about blowing through film or the expenses, so I get more experimental. I actually I used to shoot from the hip on film as well as digital, but it just gives you the opportunity to capture that like happy accident, something that you didn't see, that as you're going through and you're editing your shots, you're like, wow. So the art isn't always about you. Sometimes it's just a happy accident. I chose my Kyoto photos for this book because I had them, because they were really cool. I've always wanted to go to Japan, and so I went there first by marrying a Japanese woman, and then I went with her to Japan, and it's great to turn the tables on the Japanese and actually be the one playing the tourist and taking the photos. So anytime I find a Japanese tourist or tourist group, I actually take photos with them and of them. So like kind of being, just flipping the table. My favorite shot might have been Caucasian forehead, just because it was the Golden Pavilion, and everybody, shoots the Golden Pavilion, but how many people have a Caucasian forehead buried in the foreground of their Golden Pavilion shot? That was kind of one of those like happy accidents where some people would look at it as a ruined shot, whereas I look at it as brilliant. The idea of the ideal photo is one that causes a visceral response from the viewer, but also maybe from the artist too. When you take it and you're like, oh, wow, I'm so glad that I was in that moment able to snap the shutter at that precise time. It's like an Andre Breton photo where you're in the moment and you're able to capture something that's kind of otherworldly. I don't know if ethereal is the right word, but it transports you, the viewer, and also transports the photographer. When the digital revolution came around, it really leveled the playing field, and a lot of people that were making good money in the stock photography or being photographers, price points started coming down, and suddenly being a photographer was a dime a dozen. It was a common job that anyone could do, or they thought they could do. So I moved away from photos for income, and just really embraced taking photography for fun, for in and of itself, not for a client or not for making a buck, but to enjoy myself, to be able to express myself and enjoy the world around me.